by Toastmaster Easwaran Ram on the importance of the tag role, which is timer, accountant, grammarian. So he's the current Vice President Education and also the immediate past president of Walkie Talkie Nanganallur Toastmaster Club. He's an IT professional with 2 decades of experience, and he's a father of 2 daughters. So he gave a wonderful message and wonderful quote, if I would say: planting a sapling is similar to starting a pathway. Watering it regularly is similar to giving speeches regularly. So this was in line with Toastmasters and in line with me as all of us as well. So which reminds us that we have to give our speeches regularly to have a better path and to excel in our pathways. And similarly, to plant a tree, it's to water it regularly on a regular basis so that it grows into a wonderful tree, just like Jacob has shown us right now. So with this, let's welcome Toastmaster Easwaran Ram.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Antonio. My pleasure to be back with Emerging Leaders once again. Thank you, Toastmaster Srividya, for inviting me to this session. I really hope, after going through the tag team report today, I'm just wondering if I should tweak my session a little bit, because all the 3 role players did stupendous job. The way the timer presented precisely, and then the accounter, I've seen Jacob doing accounter role quite a few times. It's very minute in picking up the good usages and where things got missed out. I really appreciate him. And you don't need to talk about Ashok. Ashok is a stalwart in any role. He's something like a factotum, if I can use that word for him. Give him any role and he will fit in so beautifully. And some of the things that I do, I saw Ashok doing today. For example, when he presented the word of the day, he had the background appropriately changed. And then he put down the rules of what grammarian role is all about, the word he showed, and he had the word permanently in his background. It's easy for us to relate it when we see him, when we see his image. It's nice. Okay, this is the word that I'm going to use as the word of the day. Precisely, this is what a tag role is all about. In Toastmasters, we all know every role has equal significance. There is no role that is of less significance, be it an XCOM role or be it a meeting role. I think sometimes we tend to think, oh, timer role, why should I take it up? Accountant role, what is there for me to learn? It's not that. I always say this: when you take up a tag role, probably tag role is the only role wherein you should be attentive all throughout the meeting. If you have a meeting duration of 2 hours, a speaker can relax after he finishes speaking until the evaluator comes onto the stage. The evaluator, once a speaker finishes a speech, he can take a break. Whereas the trio cannot take a break. They need to be on their toes right from the beginning till the end. That gives tremendous confidence to be able to follow the meeting continuously, and also imagine the learning that you will get out of this. To me, the tag role is the most challenging role, and also performing a grammarian role is my most favorite. So on that note, let me start. I would like to congratulate ELTC for completing 175 meetings successfully and commemorating the occasion beautifully well. Last week, I got the YouTube link. I will definitely see that and share my views. And let's start this session now. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start with the grammarian role, then come to accounter and then timer, because grammarian role is very close to my heart. And I don't want to miss out something in that role. That is the reason why I'm starting from grammarian role. When you look at the grammar as such, it's not just using the right grammar. Okay, that's something that grammarians usually point out. Another very important that we should follow as speakers and the grammarians to take note of is the pronunciation. Lot of words can deceive us. When you see the word spelling, I'll give you some examples. 45. It's not 45 number. It is FORTY TIFY. It is not 45. Because when you say FORT, you say 40. But when you say 45, it is FOR, still it is pronounced as 45. Then you have enigma. Enigma is spelled ENIGMA. Chutzpah. Chutzpah spelling, I'm sure if you ask 10 people, 9 out of 10 will give a wrong spelling, because the way it is pronounced and spelled is completely different. lacuna, prophesy. So there are a lot of words, lot of such words that require skill to learn the pronunciation and use it. So I request the grammarians to please not only follow the language, but also look at the pronunciation, pick the pronunciation, appreciate good pronunciations as well, and also give suggestions on how to pronounce some of these words. Let me touch upon some of the common mistakes. In fact, Ashok touched upon quite a few things which I had noted down as part of my session. But let me quickly tell, because this is something that I observe in almost every meeting. When you talk about something that happened in the past, please use only past tense. I am going to school. Don't say that I was going to school. So we are talking about something that you did long back. So why do you bring the present tense here? Take care of this. And usage of countable nouns and uncountable nouns. For example, feedback. Feedback is used as uncountable noun, which means feedback is a singular as well as plural. A lot of times we hear people saying feedbacks. Even newspapers write feedbacks, which is wrong. Don't use that. So always understand whether it is a countable noun or an uncountable noun, and accordingly use the singular or the plural usage. Then one of the, this is something Ashok pointed out. When you say one of the, it is actually a group, one among the group, one of my best friends, one of the important facts. It's not just one you are talking about, but from a group, you are picking up one and mentioning that. Therefore, the subject or the noun that follows should always be in plural. Please remember this. A subtle difference between say and tell. People tell, I said to. Don't say that. I told. That's the right use. For example, when you say, it is saying something. Telling means telling someone something. There is a subtle difference between the two. Okay, let me give an example. I said that I will do it tomorrow. It's a very simple usage where I use the word, I use say. I told my daughter that I will take her for the movie tomorrow. So there is a difference here. So please understand where to use say and where to use tell. Another classic example. This I've seen a lot of Toastmasters using this in their speeches also. Asked and questioned. Like asked, I asked my daughter to come at 5 o'clock. I questioned my daughter. Where do you use the word question? When she does something wrong, then you question. Whereas a normal scenario, you only use the word ask. I've seen this happening quite a few times. Please take note of this. 6 a.m. in the morning. Where do you need morning there? Where do you need a.m. there? Either it is 6 in the morning or 6 a.m. And starting sentences with conjunctions, for example, such as so, because, not required. Don't use. Each and everyone. What does it mean? It's each or everyone. Both are same, isn't it? Why do you need to say each and everyone? Unless and until. Take care of this. And probably this is the most commonly used mistake in the history of English language, between the usage of between and then among. Between two. You never use between and to. It's always from and to, between and. And again, when you use between, it is always between two people. Between my two daughters. That's how you use the word between. Among the children. When you say among the children, it means more than two. Never bring between when you talk about more than two people, and never use between and to. Pick these things. This is very important to pick. As a grammarian, as a speaker, we should remember, as a grammarian, we should be able to pick these things. Ashok mentioned this as well. Can, able to, can't, able to. Can or able to. That's good enough for usage. Okay, I want to specifically point out this. This I noted down from NDTV, something like a reputed news portal in NDTV. When Dhoni quit captaincy after before the IPL campaign, I read this article titled "Jadeja to captain CSK after Dhoni quits captaincy." Now, what does it convey to you? When I first read that, I understood as when Dhoni quits captaincy, Jadeja was going to assume captaincy. Later on, I realized that Dhoni had already quit captaincy. So here, instead of after, it should be as Jadeja to captain CSK as Dhoni quits captaincy. So there is a small difference in use of preposition. Instead of after, as should be used. I'll tell you one thing, when you minutely point out, pick these things, that's where the quality of English will improve. As a speaker, when you are able to pick, when you're able to write your scripts in such a way that you don't bring in these things, you will be able to present much more qualitative speech. Again, like and want. What does it mean? Like means admiration of something. Want means desire to have something. Both may convey the same meaning at times, but there is a subtle difference here as well. I like looking at the garden. I like looking at Antonio's background. That's how I use the word like. I want to eat. I want to eat outside today. That's something that where I use the word want. Little and a little, few and a few. Little means nothing. There is little water at home. What does it mean? There is no water at home. Then when you say a little, a small quantity, I have a little money left in my wallet, means I have some portion of money, some money I have left in my pocket. Just see the difference it can make. How many times do we even pay attention to these things? It's important. Few and a few, I told. Okay, how many of us say cousin sister and cousin brother? And do you think it is right? It's not. Cousin means it conveys both. She is my cousin. He is my cousin. That's it. There is no word called cousin brother or cousin sister. Please take care of this. Pass out and graduate. Classic example. This is also used very commonly in India, at least. When you say pass out, it is not passing examination. Somebody who has consumed alcohol, he passes out. That's where you use the word pass out. Graduate when you pass an examination. So there's a difference between passing and passing out. Please remember, these are all very minute things, but when you pay attention to these small things, you will be able to make your speech much more qualitative, and also the grammarian will have a hard time in picking loopholes in your speech. And usage of the adjectives. Don't say more easier. It's either easier, that's it. There is no more easier. Where is more coming here? More better. The adjective, superlative, and the comparative degrees, you should be very careful where you use lesser. It's not more lesser, it's only lesser, isn't it? So take care of these things. When you start reading more and more, you'll be able to pick these minute things, and then you will do a better job, both as tag role players and as speakers. Now let me come to, I'm rushing through because of shortage of time, don't mind. Now let me come to our counter. Our counter, again, as I said, Jacob, you did a stupendous job. Your report was so perfect, so good. We're able to pick minute things. The only improvisation that I could think of is, yes, in fact, one of the things that I had in mind, you brought it out so beautifully. Actually, like, basically, honestly, these are all treated as fillers. Unless otherwise, those words go precisely in your usage, they are treated as fillers. So do not use these words unnecessarily in your speeches just because you want to finish your sentence. Take care of that. To avoid, okay, is it possible never to use and in a speech? It's not possible. So don't pick every and. Is it possible to give a speech without a so? It is not possible, isn't it? At the same time, see whether the person is using so or and repeatedly, then you pick. Now, how do I avoid this? Shorten your sentences. Have your sentences with 5 to 6 words, maximum 10 words. Then you will be able to avoid usage of ands and so's. Then one of the feedback that I will want to give to all the counter role players is that when you present your report, please also include one additional column. What is the average number of filler words used in a minute by the speaker? That will give some indication in a minute. Okay, this speaker uses 4 to 5 fillers. How do I reduce? That will be a good metrics for the speaker to improvise better going forward. Timer, absolutely fine. One of the things that you can probably do is to have a theme-based timer cards. Okay, now today you have a theme on environment. You could have probably think through and come up with a theme-based timer cards. For example, if you have a music-based theme, then you can have a CD-based theme card, something like that you can come out with. And for both, have plan B. What if your show screen doesn't work? Now the speaker is midway through speaking and your screen share is not working. How do you manage that? You should have a plan B. You can have some other thing with you which you will be able to communicate. That's something that you can think of. For both timer and the counter, I would suggest that you can present along with your Excel sheet report. You can also include a graphical report. That will be very nice to have some kind of a chart which you can present that will add a lot of value to your report when you present. And finally, one of the important feedback that I will want to give you is please pass on this feedback to your individual members. Some of the things you may not be able to pinpoint openly in the meeting, but go to the member, talk to them and tell them, These are the areas I found more. This is where you need to focus on. That speaker is going to deliver much more qualitative speech going forward. Please do this. Nothing wrong in doing that. On that note, since the time is running out, I'll stop here. I know I rushed through because of lack of time, but I'm always happy to come back and elaborate more if required. Any questions, I'm happy to answer. Over to you, audience.
Easwaran, I have one question.
Yes, sure.
With regard to the calculation of the average filler words you talked about, you have an Excel sheet opened with all that because the timing may not be available immediately. Do we use generally like the table topics means 2 minutes, speech means 7 minutes, that kind of a thing? Is that what you are suggesting?
Yeah. What we do is we also have the actual time taken by the speaker. Okay. Because when you take a 5 to 7 minute speech, whether you take a lower level, intermediate, or upper level, it's hard to pick. Now, I would have given a speech for 7 minutes. Somebody would have given a speech for 5 minutes. And then when you average out the fillers, then it may completely deflate and inflate. So instead, what you can do is take the actual time, pick the total number of all the fillers, lexical, non-lexical. Again, one more mistake a lot of people use is usage of unlexical. It is not unlexical, it is non-lexical. Please take care of this. So pick all the lexical, non-lexical fillers, etc. Find the total, you have the total time, then you can calculate. So this is one of the things that we do in our club as well. Ashok.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So your grammarian report was awesome. I liked it.
Thanks, Easwaran.
Any other questions, please? So the success of this session will be based on how many people come forward and take up accountant role, come forward and take up grammarian role. Even today, when Srividya called me, she said timer role is still open. Okay, I want these roles to be filled in first because trust me, they give you plenty of learning. Come forward and take it up. Give lesser headache to your VPE, whoever is going to be the elect VPE, and also to Srividya for the rest of the term. Please do that. That is what success is all about. Thank you so much. If there are no questions, I will hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day and thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Easwaran, for that insightful session on all the tag roles and also teaching us how to do the roles better and what to analyze, what to do, and what can be avoided. And so now, since we have